Hi, I'm Chad with Move Forward Guitar. This lesson is from our course, Music Theory 2. All the lessons for this course are free on YouTube, so you can follow right along with the playlist or look in the description below for links to the rest of the lessons. To accelerate your learning though, I highly recommend you download the corresponding Music Theory 2 workbook and eGuide. To learn more about the workbook and eGuide, click the link on the screen or look in the description below. Welcome to Music Theory 2, Lesson 8. In this lesson, I'm going to dive deeper into the major scale. So in this lesson, I just want to go over a few more things about the major scale. Like I said, we're going to continue building on the major scale as we go through these lessons, but there's a couple things that I want to make sure you're really clear about before we move on. So hopefully by this point you know that to build a major scale, you just pick any note. So if I was to pick G, I can make that my tonic. So the note you start on is your tonic. I use the formula whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That would give me the G major scale. And anytime you end up with an inharmonic note where you have a sharp and a flat, the way you know which one to pick is because you always go in alphabetical order. So I'm going G, A, B, C, D, E. My next note has to be an F. It can't be another G, because not only does G not come after E, but then I'd have two G's in a row. So we know it's the F sharp instead of the G flat. So that would give me G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. That's the G major scale. And that's just on one string. And then to get this over your entire fretboard, you just repeat those notes over the entire fretboard. So those notes of G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, anywhere those are on the fretboard are part of the G major scale. And it can look pretty intimidating when you look at a major scale over the whole fretboard. It looks like it's really hard to memorize or that there's a ton of notes. But in an upcoming lesson, I'll explain how you break it apart so that it's easy to memorize. And remember that a lot of these notes are unisons as well. So for example, this B is right here too. Those are unison notes. Or this A has unison notes all the way to there. All those A's are unison notes. So when you'd play the major scale, there's ways to break it up into what are called patterns, and it makes it easier to memorize. But again, I'll talk about that in an upcoming lesson. So again, just pick any note. If we were to pick F, we make that our tonic. That's the note we're starting on. That's what everything revolves around. That's what the sound's revolving around. We use the formula whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That gives us F, G, A sharp or B flat, C, D, E, back to F. Again, we know it's a B flat instead of an A sharp because we have to go in alphabetical order. So F, G, A, your next note has to be B. It can't be another A. So you end up with F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, back to F. Then you just put that over the whole fretboard. You'd have the F major scale over the whole fretboard. So anywhere on the fretboard the F, G, A, B flat, C, D, or E lands, that's part of the F major scale. So in this lesson, it's just a quick lesson. I just really wanted to make sure you have a solid foundation with that, since like I said, we're just going to continue to build on the major scale. And if you don't understand that as we go through these lessons, it's going to get really confusing really fast. So just wanted to reiterate that. Everything's in your eGuide. You can look at it, all these diagrams, and it'll be really clear to you, and go back to it anytime you need. So that's more info on the major scale. In the next lesson, we're going to dive even deeper into the major scale and talk about the sharps and flats. Look in your Music Theory 2 workbook for step-by-step guidance on how to retain this information and what to do next. And remember, all the charts and diagrams for this lesson are in your Music Theory 2 eGuide for you to reference at any time.